Tonight, Republican U.S. Senator Steve Daines and his Democratic challenger, Governor Steve Bullock, faced off Saturday night in their third and final debate of the campaign, and it did not disappoint. Our Mike Dennison joined us to break it all down.
If you watch this debate, you shouldn't have much trouble seeing some stark, meaningful differences between the candidates on many issues.
Plus, a one-month course on racism is now over at Helena College. Our Alexia Aguayo speaks with participants to get their reactions to anti-black racism and the course overall. And later,
after 5 days in the Bridger Mountains, McLovin returns home. I'm Gabby Crevitt, and I'll have that story coming up.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Thanks for spending your Saturday night with us. I'm Matt Holzaffel. New at 10, firefighters in Augusta are battling a blaze at the historic Bunkhouse Inn.
There you go. Live in the
Witnesses say the fire started at around noon today, and right now crews are still fighting the flames. No word yet on what caused the fire or the damage. No injuries have been reported. The Choteau Volunteer Fire Department tells us they called in a relief crew tonight. So did the Fairfield Fire Department. We've reached out to other responding agencies and will keep you updated as we learn more. Republican U.S. Senator Steve Daines and his Democratic challenger, Governor Steve Bullock, faced off tonight in their third and final debate of the campaign, and it did not disappoint. The two candidates took off the gloves and battled out over taxes, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Supreme Court, and even their records, or their party's record on the treatment of women. MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison was there and tells us more.
The contest between Daines and Bullock is one of the top Senate races nationwide that could help decide who controls the U.S. Senate and is already the most expensive campaign in Montana history, approaching $100 million in spending. And in Saturday's debate, sponsored by MTN News, the candidates didn't hold back. On healthcare and the pandemic, Daines touted his work on funding for vaccine development and aiding Montanans. Bullock fired back, saying there's no guarantee the vaccine will be affordable, and noting that Daines has voted consistently to repeal the Affordable Care Act.
You didn't vote once to strip that away from Montanans. You've literally voted 5 times now. And let's recognize that the whole time he has been there, he has been working to take away your health care.
When it came to the U.S. Supreme Court and the pending confirmation of Judge Amy Coney Barrett, Bullock said he opposed her and that he might consider adding more justices to the court in response to what he called a political rush job. That brought this rejoinder from Daines, and then Bullock's reply.
Steve Bullock just says he's willing to pack the courts. That should be a chilling, profound moment that has not happened for generations. It's never been packed. As Montanans, that's a threat to our Second Amendment and our very liberty and freedoms that we so cherish and want to have protected here in our great state of Montana.
You just did pack the court, Senator Daines. 4 years ago, you said, no, we should never confirm a justice when people are voting. Let the people decide. And now that's the most important thing to you. Not getting a CARES Act, they're not helping our small businesses, not helping our hospitals.
Bullock also called Daines a lapdog for Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, to which Daines replied with comments about one of his favorite boogeymen, Democratic Senate Leader Chuck Schumer.
Talk about a lapdog. I can't keep up with Bullock. There's a lot of money in this campaign, but I'm getting outspent by Steve Bullock. And guess who's doing that? Chuck Schumer. If you want to talk about a lapdog, that's the governor of Montana with Chuck Schumer.
The pair also tangled over taxes, with Bullock saying the 2017 GOP tax cut had been a huge benefit for the wealthy and that he would consider making them pay more.
The idea that those that are wealthy should pay a little bit more makes a heck of a lot of sense to me. I mean, one of Senator Daines' proudest accomplishments is getting through those 2017 tax cuts. Cuts that his party leader said, literally, we have to get through to make our donors happy.
Daines argued the tax cut bill led to unprecedented growth in the economy.
Poverty rates came down to their lowest levels in 50 years. The unemployment rate was at the lowest level in 50 years. Wages were rising at the highest level in our nation's history prior to the COVID pandemic. Why? Because we cut taxes. Bullock wants to raise taxes. I want to cut taxes.
And finally, the pair had a pointed exchange over one of Governor Bullock's former top aides, who had been fired for sexual harassment, but then got another job for the mayor of New York and was accused again of harassment.
Not only did Governor Bullock cover it up, but he got him a new job in a position of power with the mayor of New York City, Blasio, where he victimized women again because Governor Bullock chose not to warn his new employer. I'm the father of 2 daughters. That is not how you treat women.
Steve, I didn't even know initially where he got another job along the way. And for a guy who continues just to be mum when his party leader actually says, well, we'll grab women by, I can't say that on regular television, or continued sexual harassment claims are brought up, and you don't say a word along the way.
If you watch this debate, you shouldn't have much trouble seeing some stark, meaningful differences between the candidates on many issues. And most polls are showing this one is anyone's to win. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
And voting is already underway. More than 620,000 ballots went out in the mail on Friday and are due back in a little over 3 weeks. Another day of over 700 new COVID-19 cases reported in Montana. This is the third time this month we've surpassed that mark in a single day. The state is now reporting over 18,000 confirmed cases and over 6,000 active cases. The 4 new COVID-19 related deaths reported since yesterday are from Bighorn County, Blaine County, Dawson County, and Roosevelt County. Cascade County reports 596 active cases, 1,038 total. Lewis and Clark County with 195 active cases and 445 total. Now, as of today, more than 7.6 million people in the U.S. are known to have been infected with COVID-19. More than 214,000 have died. CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano has the latest.
COVID is spiking once again in the nation's second largest city. After an early fall slowdown, Los Angeles County now seeing cases top 1,000 a day this week. The virus has upended life everywhere in the country, but it's now wreaking havoc in the West and Midwest. In Utah, the largest hospital system's intensive care unit is nearly at capacity.
Our ICU is 95% full this morning.
And its medical staff overwhelmed.
We have great leadership, but people are really tired.
The virus shattering records throughout the Midwest. Health officials in Minnesota warning about a rise in rural counties with rates higher than the Twin Cities.
St. Paul!
And tracing several cases to a recent Trump rally. In Minneapolis, a popular peace activist using his platform.
I'm fighting as hard as I can.
To remind us of the toll the virus takes on communities of color.
It's killing our people, and we have to wake up.
Indiana had its highest single-day increase ever. That's also the case in Oklahoma, with record-high hospitalizations. And Wisconsin reported nearly 3,000 new cases on Friday, a worrisome surge for already stressed business owners.
It's really a losing battle for me.
Here in LA County, the city of Santa Monica has finally and cautiously reopened playgrounds, giving kids much-needed fun and exercise. But even here, there are restrictions. If you're over 2, you have to wear a mask, you have to social distance, and you can only play 30 minutes at a time. That will be tough for kids. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Santa Monica.
All right, thank you, Lily. Now, tonight will be windy with cooler temperatures, and our meteorologist Grant Garland is here to tell us more. Hey, Grant.
Hello, Matt, and hello, everybody. Hope that you're having a fantastic end to your Saturday, ready to tackle on Sunday. It has definitely been a windy day, and we're going to continue to see that a high wind warning is in effect for a lot of folks from midnight through tomorrow at 7 p.m., as well as those around Havre, as well as down towards Lewistown, a high wind warning that starts at 3 a.m. to around 7 p.m. tomorrow. Check out some of these numbers. 54 mile per hour winds here in Great Falls, 52 in Cut Bank, 49 in Helena, 44 in Butte. Just all in all, a very blustery day. Definitely needing to make sure that you put some stakes in the ground if you are having to walk out there. 35 mile per hour winds sustained right now up towards Cut Bank and Browning, 24 in Great Falls, 19 in Glasgow, as well as Jordan. And we're going to continue to see these windy conditions. 30 mile per hour winds Monday and Tuesday before jumping back up to 35 on Wednesday. Temperatures right now, though, 54 degrees in Great Falls and 61 in Havre, 67 in Glasgow as a cold front advances throughout the area. We are looking also at several places for showers. Now, find out later on how strong our winds are going to be tomorrow and why. Plus, a colder week is in store. That and more soon. But for now, back to you, Matt.
All right, thanks, Grant. Helena College finished their 1-month free course on anti-black racism and the limits to allyship. The course examined different areas of our current racial justice movements around the country. MTN's Alexia Aguayo talked to a few participants to get their reactions.
Jeremy Locke, currently taking a principal endorsement program at MSU. Jan Kleinert, recently retired. Both admitted they couldn't fully understand racism from different perspectives until taking this course.
Until really I took the course, I couldn't articulate the differences between Black Lives Matters and then other groups who say all lives matter.
Probably had forgotten a lot of the history I learned or didn't know a lot of the details. So I think part of what this class did was to put all that in context for me.
The participants stated they both learned American history from past to present with works from Black voices to understand current racial tensions in our country. When asked what was the most shocking information learned, both mentioned systemic racism and wealth gaps.
Go way back to the Revolution where slaves were the major collateral that banks were using. I was like, I didn't know that our banking system was racist. And so, and think about that in terms of how it impacts a person's daily life.
There were plantation owners and of course they had slaves. The ancestors of those should get some reparations. That's the way that I understood it. That is not at all what it is. To where that you're really kind of like, in a lot of ways pushing them out of communities, segregating them into certain communities, devaluing the property. And this kind of stuff happens, it reverberates, right? Through generation. So that was really shocking to me.
Both participants said we all learned surface level information and that it is up to all of us to dig deeper to understand these racial issues. In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTN News.
Well, the University of Montana will soon be doing their own COVID-19 testing to assist state labs during the pandemic. Find out how long it will be until their lab is ready after the break.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
The focus during this pandemic has not only been on research, but also testing. MTN's Katie Miller toured a University of Montana lab yesterday that will be screening tests for results.
I'm Katie Miller in Missoula. The University of Montana is now able to tell people what their test results are for COVID-19.
Case count is going up, and so the demand for testing continues to go up as well.
The University of Montana announced this week that it will soon start processing COVID-19 tests on campus. It will send that information to the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services.
For the state of Montana, this is a big deal. Certainly we have been working to continue to increase our testing capacity within the state of Montana and have worked on that since, frankly, March.
On Friday, the Montana National Guard Adjutant General Matt Quinn toured the lab, saying as cases continue to rise, testing capacity is as important as ever. Joey Banks, CLIA lab director at UM, says they hope this will get people faster results.
I think it's important for the whole state that Missoula steps up as a community to help provide testing for the University of Montana students and for the local community around Missoula.
This is the Genomics core laboratory here at the University of Montana, where those test samples get taken after they're collected. And this over here is the hood that the scientists use to protect themselves when they're gathering those test results. The lab will be able to process about 50 to 80 tests per day at first, and more as time goes on.
But the goal is 200 initially, and we'll see how it goes from there.
They're hoping to be up and running in the next couple of weeks. In Missoula, Katie Miller, MTN News.
With COVID-19 cases on the rise, on the way, you might find yourself staying in this weekend, but that's not to say you can't have some fun. MTN's Megan Mannering tells us how the Montana Film Festival is coming to you.
Grab the popcorn, hit the lights, and don't worry about changing out of those sweatpants, because this weekend you can attend the 6th annual Montana Film Festival from the comfort of your own couch.
Montana Film Festival is a festival that was started by the staff of the Roxy Theater, and it was kind of born out of a desire to program fiction films for a short festival and just enjoy and celebrate great independent fiction filmmaking.
This year, the Montana Film Festival is even more unique than years past. You pay $20 and the Roxy will grant you online access to 5 feature films and 23 short films.
Our goal with the festival is to highlight new, exciting, independent fiction films that are from all over.
That includes films and filmmakers from the UK, from Germany, and from right here in Missoula. John Budge, Missoula resident and Roxy employee, will bring the short film Ruined It to the virtual big screen this weekend.
I've lived in Idaho and Oregon. I'm from Seattle. I lived in New York for 10 years. And all those people that live there wouldn't have been able to see Ruined It if the festival wasn't virtual. So, you know, there's a big silver lining to it.
At a time when it would be easiest to hit pause on events and festivals, the Roxy is making it work and reaching even more people in the process. In Missoula, Megan Mannering, MTN News.
Well, a few showers are heading out to Chinook. Don't go away. Your 7-day forecast is coming up next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Grant Garland.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you've had a fantastic Saturday, ready to tackle on Sunday. Take a look at some of these temperatures, almost 20 degrees above the average for this time of year, especially here in Great Falls, where we typically see 62-degree temperatures for the average. 81 in Great Falls, 78 in Helena, 86 out in Jordan, 84 in Glasgow. Head on out to Missoula, though, 64 degrees and 60 in Kalispell. All thanks to that cold front that has been making its way throughout the Treasure State ever so slightly. We've been able to see a big temperature contrast there. So right now, actually, our average is 60 degrees, upgraded that record set back in 1934 when it was 86 degrees. Also the year that lawmakers, Texas Rangers actually, were able to ambush Bonnie and Clyde in Louisiana. That's always a fun story. 54 degrees in Great Falls right now, 52 in Helena, 46 in Missoula. Where the cold front hasn't made its way out to yet, though, Jordan, 69 degrees. Typically, we look for a 10 to 15 degree difference when trying to figure out where that front is. So it is making its way out towards the east. Now, let's see if we can see this camera jump just a little bit, because it has been a windy day. It was bouncing earlier, and a little bit kind of seeing it. That's where we're looking at our winds at 17 miles an hour, with winds gusting right now at that particular point at 32 miles an hour. Our peak wind gusts today, 54 in Great Falls, 49 in Helena, 37 in Lewistown, 43 in Havre, and guess what we're getting ready for another windy day tomorrow. Spotty showers right now across the area, all thanks to that cold front. Right now taking some light showers in Havre as well as Chinook, down towards White Sulphur Springs, showers that are just south of you guys that has been able to impact some. But, you know, we're not really seeing any rain picking up. So, I mean, yes, it's a blessing, but also we're not really seeing that. A high wind warning in effect for those pretty much west of Great Falls starting at 12 a.m. and ending at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Those east of Great Falls starting at 3 a.m. and ending right around 7 a.m. Heads up, windy day, 30 to 40, some 50-mile-per-hour winds will be gusting all throughout the morning long. So definitely want to make sure that you are just staying weather aware with that. All thanks to this cold front that continues to push out towards the east. As that happens, we will see some snow showers pretty much at elevations of 5,500 feet or higher, being able to bring with it around 3 inches of snow. But I think most of us will see rain. Our next system comes in Monday to bring us another chance for showers. We aren't looking at much, though, in terms of rain from now through Monday, or right around 10 o'clock. We'll see possibly 2/10 of an inch of rain for our friends in Helena, and just shy of 2/10 for our friends in Butte. 40 degrees tonight in Lewistown, Hayes, as well as Great Falls and Helena, 49 in Glasgow. We will be looking at our temperatures staying well below the average for this time of year, with a chance for showers from Monday through Wednesday, really. And that's going to be the same situation for our friends in Helena, too, where we're looking at some better chances of rain. Matt?
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Welcome back. Well, have you seen this story on our website yet? If you haven't, it's a heartwarming story involving a family, their dog, and support from the Bozeman community. MTN's Gabby Crevitt has a story about one dog's rescue after being lost in the mountains.
After 5 days lost in the Bridger Mountains, Mick, or Mick Levin, returned home, thanks to the help of the Bozeman community.
Sit. You lay down. We were almost to Bridger Bowl up on Saddle Peak, and we had a snack together, and we were with each other, and then 30 seconds, he was gone, and I didn't see which way he went.
Dan Gable looked all night for Mick. No luck.
My heart just kind of fell into my chest.
That's when Danny Gable posted on social media about the family's missing dog.
People were texting, leaving me voicemails. There were people just saying, hey, I'm planning on going up Sipes. I'm bringing a ball and an extra leash. And then when they would get back, they said, hey, I did the hike, but no sign of him.
But the Gables didn't lose hope. Soon, hundreds of people from across the community were hiking the bridges searching for Mick. Then, on day 5, Dan spotted Mick with his binoculars, stuck on the ledge of a cliff around 70 feet up. Daylight was fading quickly.
It was definitely a climb I wasn't able to do by myself.
Enter the Bozeman community, where volunteers joined to help rappel Mick down the cliff.
At least a dozen people just threw down everything they were doing on a Sunday night and raced up that mountain with headlamps and climbing gear to do that. It was just an amazing, amazing sight.
Mick returned home from the vet healthy and happy.
Dan and Danny, Mick's owners, did everything right. They got the community engaged. They didn't lose hope.
The Gables say they're overwhelmed by the support from the community.
I told him he has to live now till he's 15 because my heart can't take another loss anytime soon.
The Gables say on their next hike, Mick will be wearing a GPS collar. Reporting in Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Out-of-staters and even locals took off this summer to enjoy the Treasure State's public lands. MTN's Jordan Johnson tells us how one town was busier than usual.
As the summer months come to an end and the leaves start to fall, Seeley Lake looks back on one of the busiest summers in its history.
This year, we had the same numbers starting in Memorial Day and went all the way through Labor Day. So we were having campgrounds full by Tuesday or Wednesday of each week.
Quinn Carver is the ranger for the Seeley Lake District and said that one way the rangers could tell it was a busy summer was the use of the amenities available for campers.
The traditional pumping of the vault toilets it usually takes about twice per campground a year per vault, and that covers us. This year, all of them had to be done 4 times.
Carver also mentioned how tourists from near and far came to enjoy the scenery and campgrounds.
We had people from all over. We had folks from Washington, Texas, Maine, New Hampshire. So we had folks from all over the place.
And it wasn't just the campgrounds getting some extra love from tourists.
The tourists are our main staple of what keep us able to stay open through the winter. It's kind of Memorial Day to Labor Day is when you make your hay, so you can make it through the winter.
Mike Lindemer, the owner of Lindy's Steakhouse, says that the steakhouse and the town itself has seen out-of-state traffic.
This summer, we've seen a lot of out-of-state traffic, also a lot of in-state traffic, and it's been a little busier traffic-wise through our smaller communities because people are trying to get away, and I think they're coming to our hidden little tourist vacation. In camping, campgrounds were full. If the weather changes, obviously they want to come inside and eat.
In Seeley Lake, Jordan Johnson, MTN News.
Now, Saturday, the pond hockey tournament in January was canceled due to COVID-19 concerns. Now, hey, don't forget tonight at 10:30, in just a couple minutes, stick around for an extra half hour of sports coverage from our MTN sports team. MTN Weekend Sports Extra is every Saturday and Sunday at 10, right here on MTN stations. But before we get there, we've got some highlights from today for you. Hot Springs High School took a trip to White Sulphur Springs with the 6-man West Championship on the line. Here's Sam Hoyle with more.
It's a beautiful day for football here in White Sulphur Springs, albeit a little bit windy as the Hornets play host to the Hot Springs Heat in a game that will effectively decide the first seed in the playoffs for the 6-man West. Should be a fantastic game here. Let's get into the highlights.
White Sulphur Springs got on the jump in this one as Sam Davis looks right, lofts one to the corner to Alex Novak for the score. PAT is blocked. It's 6-0 Hornets. The Heat get back on it quickly as Jack McAllister hammers one up the middle for the touchdown. It's 8-6, but from there it was all White Sulphur Springs in this one. Davis gonna scramble right, looking, finds an open Devin Novak who hangs on for the catch. It's 14-8, 22-8 now in the second quarter. Shaw Davis takes the handoff, finds the sideline. He's got some daylight. He's going to need to cut back across the middle for the score. It's 30-8 now, and the Hornets defense just as stout as their offense as Siler Taylor able to track down McAllister for the sack, and the Hornets win this one by a final score of 53-15, and they are the 6-man West champions. Reporting in White Sulphur Springs, Sam Hoyle, MTN Sports.
MTN Sports Extra continues with more coverage from MontanaSports.com.
Welcome to Saturday Sports Extra. Another week of high school football has come and passed in Montana, and our sports team has coverage from the best performances across the state last night. We start with Tom Wiley in Great Falls.
One of the more cliche things you can ask a coach whose team came back from a 14-0 deficit at halftime is, what'd you tell them in the locker room? But for CMR and Coach Dennis Morris, it was a simple message that made all the difference, and the Rustlers responded with 6 touchdowns in the second half for a 42-21 win over Bozeman Gallatin.
Yeah, it was settle down. It's do what we do every single day. You know, we have a lot of kids that come out here with not a lot of varsity experience. They knew the implications of the game. The winner of this game is going to playoffs. They knew that. Too much pressure on them, okay? A couple things didn't go our way, and we panicked a little bit. So we go in the halftime and said, let's just do what we do every day, settle down and play football. And we did that, and we got into a rhythm.
We're going to single out the play of sophomore Caden Doran, number 10 here. Like the entire team, Doran had a rough first half. He was on the losing end of Gallatin's first 2 touchdown passes. But he didn't have to wait long for redemption. With Gallatin looking to go up 3 scores, he came up with a diving interception.
Well, it was really coaches, players all helping me up. That stuff happens in football. You just got to come back and make a play yourself.
Then tied at 21 in the second, he jumped the route for his second interception, which turned into a pick 6 and the go-ahead score for CMR.
We spend a lot of time watching film in the classroom. I personally watch it very, very carefully. I studied that play, and I knew exactly when it was coming. And then I just got myself in the position to make the play. I was just like, finally a pick 6. I've been waiting all season for it.
Okay, and he's a sophomore that keeps getting better every single day. And to boot, you know, he's 5'6", and they put a 6'1" corner or a receiver on him, and he does everything he can to cover it. You know, but he keeps working hard. He keeps getting better every single day. And today was his day. You know, yeah, he got beat on that first one right there and took it to heart and came out and played great football.
On offense, quarterback Rafe Newbro scored 4 rushing touchdowns, but he was set up by his 2-headed monster running back. A.J. LaFerge and Jackson Simonson combined for 281 rushing yards, moving the chains at will in the second half.
It was just our drive, our emotion. We wanted to win on homecoming night, do all the royalty good, and we just whooped them in the second half.
Yeah, going back down to the basics instead of trying to, you know, get all these complex things in, just basics always work, I think.
The win was do or die for the Rustlers, who now sit at 2-3 in the regular season and very much in the hunt to make the playoffs.
Well, I'll tell you what, we had to have this one here because I'm telling you, we are getting better every single week. You know, we're not at the Bozeman caliber yet, we're not at the West caliber yet, but it's a dang good football team, and they're getting better every single day, and it's time that they saw a little bit of fruit of their labor.
The Rustlers close out the regular season with Billings Senior and crosstown rival Great Falls High. Reporting from Great Falls, Tom Wiley, MTN Sports.
Well, it was a big rivalry win for the Malta Mustangs on Friday, a 36-14 decision over Glasgow. Now, not many people expected that final score necessarily because it was just Malta's 4th game of the year.
Glasgow came in 6-0 after dominating previous opponents in blowout fashion. And at first glance, the Scotties looked like they were at it again. A methodical opening drive took them into the red zone, but Malta's defense held strong, and the Scotties never even scored in the first half.
We've been looking forward to this game since the start of the season, and we've been fired up ever since. And then today we just really hammered them.
They have a nice scheme. They're well coached, and we just thought, you know, if we could maybe get a handle on Loden Idler, he's a dangerous player and a fantastic football player, and Jesse Lee, and then they're big up front with starting with Phipps, and you know, we knew that those were kind of their big guys, and Cooper Larson, and if we could kind of stop some of their key plays, we have a chance at slowing them up and maybe for the victory.
And because it was just their 4th game of the year, the win over the Scotties has added meaning for the Mustangs. Malta, now 4-0, has seen multiple games slip from their schedule due to the coronavirus, and in many ways, they feel like the season is still getting started.
We're in mid-October and we only have 4 games, so it feels like we still have just started, and I'm not quite sure. We still have some wrinkles to sort out. But you know, I'm proud of our guys. We got a veteran offensive line that a lot of those guys have been playing since they're sophomores, and we got a lot of guys got playing time last year. So we bring back a lot of experience, and that has helped us get to this point. But we have a long ways to go. We feel like we could get a lot better.
Yeah, there's some issues that you can only work out in a game setting. You can't really get a hold of in practice. So yeah, there's definitely some setbacks to it, but we kind of just accept the fact that
we're going to get our game taken away from us and look to the next week.
This Malta senior class has now beaten Glasgow all 4 years of high school. They intend to enjoy that feeling at school on Monday.
Oh yeah, everybody's going to be hyped. It's just such a good feeling to beat your rival. It's like awesome.
And I'm proud of our senior leadership, and you know, when you have a team like Glasgow as your next opponent, and we were able to get 2 weeks to prepare for them, you know, maybe that was an advantage that we had. But our guys stayed focused, and I'm real proud of the job that they did preparing for 2 weeks versus these guys.
But Malta can't bask in this win too long. They know they have to look forward to a date with Fairfield next week, and the Eagles have been a thorn in Malta's side for many years.
Fairfield's always strong. I don't know, they always come out and surprise you. You can study their plays as much as you want, but they're always going to have something up their sleeve, and I don't think it's anything we can't handle, though.
And though Malta is now in the driver's seat to win the Northern B Division, they've only got 2 weeks left to work out the small issues. In Malta, Isaiah Dunk, MTN Sports.
We're back with more MTN Sports Extra.
When the Helena High Bengals trounced the Kalispell Glacier Wolfpack by a score of 34-14 on October 10th, one thing for sure stood out. The Bengals defense is not one to be trifled with this year in the Western AA. And according to their head coach, Scott Evans, what we're seeing this year is simply just a byproduct of all the time and the effort these players have put in since they were effectively freshmen.
We've been a good defense squad for a long time, and we've done some good things, and these kids have played a lot of downs together. You know, I look at this defense squad, these guys have put a lot of turns on the field. You know, there's some guys who have started since their sophomore year in high school. They got some turns as freshmen, so they know what they're doing out there, and you know, there's an expectation of success, and we're going to chase perfection until we redefine perfection, so that's what we keep doing.
The Bengals defense is averaging under 9 points per game, with Friday's contest being tied for the highest scoring night by a Bengals opponent this season. And according to Evans, a lot of that is thanks in part to a stout defensive line.
You know, our guys just played well up front. I like the fact that number one is our D-line got after it, and our linebackers. They made some good plays, and they just got after it. And, you know, I enjoyed the heck out of that. It was fun. It was, you know, you got to give credit to the guys up front.
Forrest Swearell is one of the starting defensive linemen for the Bengals, and noted the big component to their success on defense this year is ensuring they have good communication in the trenches.
We all were just communicating so well, and we all were one. So I feel like that's just a big factor in our defense. Just we all just get along together really well. And so I feel like that's just one of our big factors in that.
The Glacier Wolfpack came into the matchup as one of the higher scoring offenses in the league, scoring at least 30 points in each of their first 4 matchups. The Wolfpack's running back Jake Randina was averaging nearly 200 yards of rushing and over 4 scores per game headed into the matchup. The Bengals held him to just 109 yards and 2 scores. And as both Swearell and Evans said, the communication will only help if they have a rock-solid plan in place.
We focus mostly on him because they don't pass that much like compared to last year and the year before that. So I feel like we focused on him, and we all knew that he was a power back, so he's going to get those little extra yards. But if we can team tackle really well, we'll do just fine.
You know, tackle him with a bunch of guys called the ambush mentality, and so we went after it like that, and there was a bunch of crazed tigers, I guess, going after him.
Now, as the Bengals sit tied for first in the Western AA, they'll meet the other undefeated squad in the Missoula Sentinel Spartans. The Spartans' offense is averaging 50 points per game. And as that unstoppable offense meets the impenetrable defense, the Bengals feel right at home.
It's 5-0 versus 5-0. I don't know what the score was over there in Missoula town, but Sparta's got a great squad over there, and Coach Oliver and the guys do a great work. So we'll just get ready to battle again on a Friday night with undefeated. So I kind of like that.
The Helena High Bengals will take on the Missoula Sentinel Spartans in a battle of undefeateds yet again. 5-0 meets 5-0 in Week 6. Reporting in Helena, Sam Hoyle, MTN Sports.
Joy and excitement ruled the Helena Capital post-game huddle after the Bruins topped the Missoula Big Sky Eagles here at MCPS Stadium on Friday evening. Their message, we're still in this. And the Bruins are still very much in the playoff hunt, separating themselves in a jam-packed Western AA. Now moving forward, going game to game, the Bruins are trying to use the momentum from Friday evening as they eye one of those playoff spots.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, with several teams sitting there at 1-3, and Big Sky and Hellgate and us, and trying to vie for those middle positions, and whatever happens with Butte, and maybe you host something down the road, or you got to put yourself in position. But we can't worry about, like I said to the guys after the game, we can only manage what we can manage. I mean, we can control this controllable, and they did a good job.
Heading into Friday's games, 4 teams in the Western AA were 1-3.
so Capital and Butte did themselves big favors by picking up wins. That fact wasn't lost on Capital's players, who were excited to get back on the winning track after dropping a close one against Butte last week.
Coming in, we knew we weren't like what our record showed. We're way better than that. Everyone played great, and excited for next week. Gotta get another dub.
It feels great. I mean, we haven't been able to really put teams away lately. I mean, the Butte game, we didn't finish it off, and this game, it ended different, and it was nice to get that win. We kind of dug ourselves in a hole at 1-3, and so we just need to get ourselves out of it one step at a time.
It's great, they created their own opportunity tonight. They finished the ball game, and we have now an opportunity to be, one of those seeds in the playoffs if we continue to take care of business. But it's good to set a goal and accomplish that. I'm proud of the guys.
6 of the 8 Western AA teams will qualify for the playoffs, with Missoula Sentinel, Helena High, and Kalispell Glacier all sealing a berth on Friday. But with 3 remaining spots, Capital put itself in good position to make a run at the postseason. And the players are well aware that they control their own destiny right now, as that message was clear as the Bruins celebrated their win on Friday.
Yeah, we're taking it one game at a time. I mean, our goal is to win out, but, we got to focus each week on who we got coming up next.
Sometimes it's a little more difficult with maybe an inexperienced group, but these guys are growing up week to week. We're playing with some kids that haven't had a lot of varsity experience, but now we're 5 games in, so that isn't something you talk about anymore. It's something that we have to grow up as a football team, and we got to believe in ourselves, and we have to be the ones that make those plays.
But there is still work to be done, and focusing on the task at hand and one game at a time allows the Bruins to prioritize their goals.
We just got to look at it like do or die. Got to get the best season possible. It's all on us. No one can stop us except us. This win or this loss coming up, it's all us. Just got to keep rolling, keep doing what we do, and know we got it.
Yeah, I mean, this was big for us. Big Sky had the same record as us. We needed to come out and get this win, and we need to come back firing next week too.
Helena Capital will look to keep its momentum going after this win, as next week they host Missoula Hellgate. In Missoula, Kyle Hansen, MTN Sports.
MTN Sports Extra continues with more coverage from MontanaSports.com.
Manhattan moved to 6-0 on Friday night after dominating Big Timber 49-0, but they continue to blow out teams using both the air attack as well as the rushing game.
We have a lot of weapons. Got some guys that can run the ball, guys that can catch the ball, and we got a quarterback that can, do a little of both. So we're just a balanced offense, and we're willing to take what the defense gives us.
We got 4 good receivers that can catch, which just spreads the defense out, and it makes it really hard to cover. When you got 2 running backs, 4 receivers, it makes it tricky.
Going into Friday's game, the 2 running backs, Toby Velkamp and Isaac Richardson, were punishing opponents on the ground. Velkamp was averaging a whopping 9.9 yards per carry on 31 attempts, and Richardson was averaging 6.2 on 58 rushes.
They're both great running backs. They run hard every time they get the ball. They never take a play off, and our line fights for them. When you have guys like that are constantly working their butts off, it makes other people want to fight for them and block and open up holes.
But both running backs play differently, balancing each other out. Velkamp brings the tenacity and makes defenders pay when they come to tackle him.
And hopefully they land on their back. That's the goal every play. As long as they're on their back, you're gaining yards.
He's just a brute of a player, He's a hard player. He kind of runs the ball like he plays defense, He's always looking to hit.
He runs hard. Every time he gets the ball, he's looking to take someone's head off.
Richardson has the speed and vision.
Isaac, he's a good runner. He's elusive, fast. Hardly ever gets taken down on first contact. I think that's a big reason why he's averaging 6 yards a carry. And, just seeing the hole well, and he runs hard.
He's got elusiveness. He finds holes and he goes.
The running back tandem doesn't mind one bit that they shared carries.
It's fun to work with him. We mesh really good, and we just love playing together, and we're boys, we're homies.
Manhattan just doesn't get it done on the ground. Holgate was completing 71% of his passes with 12 touchdowns and only 1 interception going into Friday night's game. He also averages over 5 yards per carry on the year.
Caden's a playmaker. He's just he's a gamer. He always has been, and we knew that going into the season. And it's great that, if something's not there, he can scramble a little bit instead of throwing the ball away, just to get us some positive yards on the play. So that's a great threat to have as well.
But none of that could happen without the big boys up front.
We have an amazing O-line, and they work their butts off every single play. They come to work, and we really appreciate it. They take care of us.
Next week, this offense will have to stay hot as the Southern Bee is on the line as the Tigers take on Townsend.
Townsend's a great team. They're well coached. They got some good athletes on their team. I told the kids, enjoy this win. It's homecoming. Go celebrate a little bit, and then Monday we have to work hard because it is a big week for us. So we'll be ready, and we'll see what happens.
In Manhattan, John Miller, MTN Sports.